Do you feel powerless against constipation? Do you feel like you've tried everything to relieve your constipation? Magnesium, fiber, water, probiotics, doctor visits, changing your diet, like going gluten-free or dairy-free. But no matter what you've tried, you can't poop daily on your own? Or do you struggle with feeling hopeless that you'll never feel comfortable in your body again? If so, this episode is for you. On today's episode, I'm breaking down the number one constipation natural remedy that has helped hundreds of my clients go from 10 plus years of chronic constipation where the doctor said they would never get better to pooping daily on their own. All with something called the push-release method. On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing what the push-release method is, why it is number one, how it works, why it is so different than every other constipation relief strategy, and how you can utilize it to finally get permanent constipation relief. If you've been wondering why so many things that quote unquote should work haven't, and if there's more out there that can actually help you get permanent constipation relief, this episode and this method changes everything. Hey friend, welcome to the Better Belly podcast. If you're currently trying endless supplements, doctor visits, and diet changes to heal your mystery symptoms, you are in the right place. We're here to solve the real root causes behind your gut, hormones, skin, sleep, and brain concerns. Literally anything and everything in your body. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that has supported over 150 clients just like you to heal problems that no one has been able to fix. You don't need a perfect diet or a random supplement you found on Instagram to heal. You need a proven system that heals your whole body from the inside out. That's what I'm here to share with you, episode by episode. It's time to make health easy again. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. All right, guys. So today's episode, I'm actually going to be teaching out of a document that I wrote that you can get for free if you want to see any of it. If you're a visual learner, I am going to be recording some visuals for the video portion of this that we're hoping to start be getting video up for you guys in Apple Podcasts, in Spotify in the next few weeks. So you might be actually seeing it too if you're a visual learner, but you can get this document at betterbellytherapies.com/ Sorry, I had to check make sure I was going to say the right thing. betterbellytherapies.com/guide. And you can just download my entire, 95 page document on how to naturally relieve constipation. We're going to talk through just one section of this document, but it covers the push release method, which is my description of how I'm getting and helping our clients with chronic constipation who just can't seem to poop on their own no matter what, get better. So let's talk about it. What is the push release method? The push release method is two parts, but it breaks up what most people do, which is most strategies that is trying to heal you. They only focus on pushing. Magnesium is a push tactic. Fiber is a push tactic. Sometimes pushing itself, like sitting on a stool differently and having a squatty potty or going to pelvic floor therapy. A lot of these are focused on, can your muscles push? How do you push? How do we push without giving you a prolapse, right? Or if you have a prolapse, how do you push better so that your prolapse isn't an issue? These are all push methods, but the big reason and the way I'm simplifying why people do not get better, why I wasn't getting better when I was constipated back in 2015, 2016, 2017, no matter what I did, why I wasn't getting better and why my clients don't get better is that all of these tactics do not focus on the concept of there is a release that needs to happen. And honestly, some of y'all might be like, no, duh. But I want you to imagine, and I'm actually going to put on the screen here, like a very simple drawing that I made, right? So if you imagine water flowing or like there's green arrows on the screen and they're pushing in one direction and you're trying to push, but there's literally like a barrier, like a plug on in front of this water. There's a dam, right? Holding up all the push force that is trying to go forward guess where the push force is not going to go? It's not going to go out. It is plugged. It is as effective. I mean, if the plug is as effective as a wine bottle, you're going to need some massive amount of force. And honestly, it's not the force that opens up the wine bottle. It is a human hand removing that barrier. So the push release method is mind-blowing and super intensely effective because we actually have looked at and identified, and I've identified over 10 plus years now of both what worked for me and what I've seen clients need to remove their barrier. And before I'm going to get into the barriers today, and we're actually going to be spending the next 5 episodes after today diving into the 3 most common mistakes that people make and why they get stuck in each barrier. Because I will tell you right now, the barrier names are like not new. It's not like you've never heard these concepts before, but it's the fact that people are not addressing them really well. So I'm going to share with you what those areas are that people are kind of getting mired in so that they never get these barriers dealt with. But before I get into the barriers, I want to talk about why I call it number 1, because I didn't want to write that lightly or make it some like weird marketing tactic and at the same time, I think it's a very good description and I call it number 1 because it works when nothing else has. It is the number 1 method. There are some people out there, yes, that if they're a little constipated, maybe from traveling, that some magnesium helps, or altering their diet a little helps. We're not talking about the occasional constipation someone gets once or twice a year from just random stuff that happens to us. We're talking about daily, weekly, monthly constipation. There's a variety of range of intensities. Some of it is people who can't poop. We've had clients work with us who have had laxative abuse intentionally, or because of constipation, they've been on laxatives for 10 plus years, or they've simply had 10 plus years of mostly constipation. We've had clients work with us who their doctor said everything is normal in their labs and they still got better with us. We've had people work with us who have had pelvic floor prolapse, megacolons, redundant colons, tortuous colons, people with just a little bit of constipation, people who alternate between diarrhea and constipation, people who've been told that they'll never get better and they just need to adjust to this new norm. This is the people that we've helped. And that's why I call it number 1. It has worked when nothing else has. And so I don't expect you guys to just believe me. By the way, I actually have compiled all of the testimonials we have from clients that have gotten results following the push release method. You can go see them at betterbellytherapies.com/results. It's free. It doesn't even you don't even have to share your email. It'll just plop you onto a document that we're literally I added 2 more testimonials to it last week. So we're always adding to it, but betterbellytherapies.com/results. And it has a bunch of screenshots of results clients have gotten and a ton of podcast episodes. I don't remember how many it is off the top of my head. If for any reason you don't want to go to that link, you can look in our show notes today. And I plopped in 3 podcast episodes that are testimonials from clients of mine who've gotten relief from constipation. And if you notice, or if you look, you might notice that all of them got relief in 1 month or less. And that is the most common time window for our clients to get literally permanent relief from constipation. Not just I pooped today, but I keep needing to do this technique to poop the rest of my life. Because the idea, if you think about a barrier or a wine bottle, I hadn't used the wine bottle image yet, but it works really well. That if you take the cap off a wine bottle, it's uncapped, man. It doesn't really go back to the same state. I mean, you can use something you buy and shove it in there, but it's not nearly as airtight as these corks that are put in by machines. I don't even know how it works. I'm sure it's insane. So it's the same thing. Once you remove the barrier, it's just massive improvement. And so how does this work? Why does it work? How does it work? Can I share any more about it? So there are 3 steps to the push release method. Number 1 is assess your barriers. That's really key. It's not just one barrier. So I'm going to show you another picture for our visual learners. And by the way, I'm scrolling past an image of these arrows. There's even more green arrows. People are trying to push more and it doesn't work. I already kind of covered that. But the push release, or the barriers that we need to address, there are 5 of them, and we need to actually assess them. So I can tell you 10 out of 10, and I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been working with other clients for 8 years, since 2018. I've been helping myself get better and working on myself getting better since 2015. And I've had pretty much permanent relief since late 2017. After just assessing and working with gobs and gobs of clients, I've consistently seen that their issues, the reasons they're constipated, falls into 5 categories of 5 barriers. And so some clients might have 3 of them are like their main things. Some might have 2. I've never seen one. I've never been like, oh, it's just one of these problems, because a lot of these barriers end up reinforcing other ones or creating other ones. So like one of the barriers, and it's not a secret, guys, I'll be telling you guys all these things, but one of the barriers is what I call hidden pathogens. Well, a lot of pathogens steal nutrients from you. So then it can create another barrier in your body of nutrient deficiencies. And when you're deficient, especially in very specific minerals, it's really, really hard to poop. And I'm not talking about magnesium. Magnesium's like the least of our problems, which most people don't know. So we want to assess your barriers. And that's the first step, is knowing when someone comes into contact with the push release method, we don't assume that they have the same 5 barriers or the same amount or their categories. So within the category of a 5 barrier, like the category of hidden pathogens, some people have candida, some people don't. Some people have H. pylori, some people don't. Some people have mold exposure, some people don't. And so when you come into contact with the push release method, the way you get your fastest results and most effective and honestly lowest cost is not doing the same thing everybody else is doing or the person next to you in the program is doing just what you need. So the assessment is first. Number 2, we remove the barriers. There's a lot of detail involved in that. Like one really big one is removing them in the right order. There are certain orders that if you do it backwards, it is very difficult to address. And I've talked about this in other podcast episodes in this, on our entire podcast platform. So if you are a listener for a while, that might sound somewhat familiar. If you're not, like one that I can mention really briefly is if you try to kill candida before you correct stomach acid levels, it's really, really hard. Candida will keep coming back. And so stomach acid levels are part of digestion. You want to address that barrier first before you go over and address candida. But before you address stomach acid levels, you want to address H. pylori, because H. pylori, if you have it, will grow and strengthen as you increase your stomach acid levels. And so there's a little bit of like a dance of going from barrier to barrier, working on a little bit in hidden pathogens, a little bit in digestion, a little bit in mineral deficiencies. But you do remove the barriers. And then as you remove the barriers, after you've done that, you get to step 3, what I call push gently. And the key word here is gently. Most of the time, our clients don't perceive that they need to push, because your body, when the 5 barriers are removed, it has all it needs to get the cues to push. However, sometimes there is a bit of a retraining period where the body's like, oh, I can poop. And we use some gentle techniques, like super gentle. We're not talking about high dosing. We're not like magnesium citrate or laxatives or anything. Nothing painful, nothing intense. And it works. It's just gentle retraining, gently giving the body what it needs to then be like, oh, I can poop. And once you've done all 3 steps and you kind of hang out in that space for a little while, meaning you let your body keep being in a state where it can poop, it really just comes back online, and you don't like have to come back and redo this method again, which is kind of wild. So a little bit, few more words on barriers before we finish this episode. Just to recap, there are 5 of them. There are 5 in their categories. I'll go through all 5 right now. Number 1 is poor digestion. Number 2 is hidden pathogens. Number 3 is, I think I'm going to say them in a different order than what the episodes are going to come out as. So just forgive me. Number 3 is heavy metals and mineral deficiencies. Not everybody has heavy metals, but the people who do, you want to know and address them. And that's one of your barriers. Pretty much all our clients have mineral deficiencies. I would say all of them. Like, it's one of the biggest issues. And we're not talking about magnesium. There are a bunch of other minerals that are really important to pooping, and knowing that you're deficient in them is super key to unlocking it. And then food sensitivities is another big one. One of the issues with that one, I will give you a hint. As soon as I say it, people are like, but I've already changed my diet a million times. If you literally have brought down the wall, if you've dealt with that barrier of food sensitivities, but there's 4 other barriers up, guess who's not pooping? You. So it's not that you haven't tried to work on any of these categories, but a lot of times people don't actually fully bring down the barrier because of following advice that is not appropriate to actually removing a barrier. It simply like ameliorates the barrier. It like reduces the intensity, but it doesn't actually remove it. That's why I'm going to be getting into, in all these other episodes, the 3 biggest, most common mistakes that keep people stuck in these barriers. But that's number 4 is food sensitivities, and number 5 is poor detox. And the biggest thing with poor detox, which I'm going to get to more in the episode, is simply people not misunderstanding what detoxing means and how to support the body to detox. Sometimes I get clients in who come to me and they say, well, I can't poop, so I can't detox. And you're like, yes, pooping is a detox pathway. It's super important. It's one of the reasons why if you struggle with pooping, you do feel poorly. You can have low energy and acne and brain fog, all these things because of not pooping, because you reabsorb toxins. However, a lot of times actually, pooping is actually in this like little cycle of detox pathway, and I will get into that in the detox episode. And if that cycle is clogged up further up, it actually makes it really hard to poop, which is fascinating and doesn't get talked about a lot. So that is the 5 toxin trap. I'm going to turn off this image here, or not the 5 toxin trap, or what the 5 barriers I call the 5 toxin trap. And we just created something amazing, a super new tool. We're calling it the 5 Toxin Trap Audit, and you can go and audit yourself just by answering a bunch of questions that are pre-prepared and seeing which of the 5 categories you are most stuck in. And it's literally just by symptom, which is just a beautiful way to start, and you can get an idea of what traps it looks like you're stuck in and how this process could be really, really helpful for you. So when you know what barriers you have, and then you remove the barriers, then you can use the push release method to finally get permanent constipation relief. That's where I've been since kind of happening across the 5 toxin trap and realizing the order that we need to address everything and reversing my constipation back in 2017. And it's worked for all of our clients that have come through the process. There's literally no one it hasn't worked for, which is insane. It's such a blessing. I'm so grateful to get to share this. And honestly, sometimes the hardest part for our clients is just believing it, because so many other things haven't worked and other people have spoken confidently on, oh, I can help you with your constipation, but it genuinely is the same stuff that they're trying. We'll just try lots of magnesium citrate, or we'll do an Epsom salt bath, or there's a lot of cool stuff out there. But really, even if it does work, you don't want it to, like coffee works for some of our clients. Laxatives work. You don't want to have to be on it. Like, oh, if I don't drink coffee today, I'm not going to poop. Or if I don't run 5 miles. That was actually one of our clients recently who said that she'd been in a cycle where unless she went for a run, like a multiple mile run in the morning, she wouldn't poop that day. And she's recently gotten to a point where she can poop even if she doesn't run. And that feels like freedom to her. Like, what if she travels and she's not going to run 5 miles that morning? She's not going to poop? Like, what if you get sick and you're not going to go for a run? Do you also not poop that day? Right? We want to be able to be free from, and our bodies to be functional. It's a sign of health. And honestly, when the things are functioning that help you poop daily, not only do you poop daily, those things that are now functioning better make everything smoother. So it's not just the relief of physically feeling emptied or the improvement of detoxification, which will also make you feel better. It's literally the base things, the base core foundational things that are enabling you to poop are also enabling other cellular function to improve, which is awesome. So we see people whose hormones balance, we see people's skin clear up, no more acne, no more eczema. We see people whose headaches reduce or go away completely. We see people with chronic pain, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia-like pain, autoimmune disorders go into remission, meaning they still have that proclivity for their immune cells to attack a certain tissue, but that it's not currently, that there's no attacking going on. And so, which they can see by symptoms, and doctors can see by usually testing the right types of markers, depending on the type of autoimmunity that they're dealing with. So It's just a really beautiful thing. And so that's the push release method. If you want to hear our upcoming episodes, be sure to hit subscribe on whatever podcast player you like to use. And if you like to get email reminders of new episodes coming out, we send those out every Thursday. You can grab it, get those emails by going to betterbellytherapies.com/subscribe. And again, if you want to see your audit results, how do you fare? We literally have little measuring bars that show you how much for every bar you've probably completed or how stuck you probably are in each toxin trap individually. It's a really, really cool quiz, and I want people to use it and give me some feedback. So we can definitely change it if you think something else should be in there. So that is it for today's episode. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, whatever day of the week it is when you're listening to this. And I'll see you guys for our next episodes. Bye.
Hey friend, I hope you loved this episode. If you've been a fan for a while or newly loving this podcast, can you do me a favor? Drop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. When you leave a review, you do so much. You help me know you're listening, you can tell me what you're loving so I know what to make more of, and you help others by boosting this podcast so other people like you can find the podcast too. I mean, it's a win-win-win, right? So if you want a way to pay it forward, just go to Apple Podcasts or click the link in my show notes and leave a rating and review. And if you want some more free stuff, just head over to my free Facebook group, betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook, and you can get access to all of my free support for you, including some Facebook group exclusive stuff like my podcast episode vault, where you can search the Better Belly podcast by topic and find exactly what you need to expedite your healing. I cannot wait to see you in there. Catch you guys next week.